Hi, good evening. Tonight I'm talking about the Florida shooting. As I've discussed earlier on in a few of my videos, or maybe one video that I shot about mental health. The one thing is that it doesn't matter how old you are, it's how things affect you. When it comes down to mental health, there are no boundaries. It could be the smallest thing that trips you off. Could be a breakup, could be somebody's not nice to you, could be that you're just having a bad day. Could be the smallest thing that you didn't like something, and then it takes that just to trigger you off. So, the one thing that I'm going to read to you is just something from the Broward Sheriff. And yes, it was already written, but guess what? I think this is a good thing to read as many are mourning the loss of their children and then the loss of also the person that put themselves in the line of defense in America, not abroad, not overseas, not in the Middle East, not in, you know, other countries or continents. He put himself out there to protect these children because they had a future and because he felt that it was the best thing for him to do. So as of a few hours ago, there was a count for 17 victims of the shooting. So what it reads is, as we hold the 17 in yesterday's tragic shooting close to our hearts, we remember them with a candlelight vigil. We vow to never forget them. Just like soldiers, just like anybody that anything has come to them, we have all been a victim to some kind of violence in our lives. It might not have affected us, from when our parents are or our family have been and gone through, like a crisis in another country. We are all human beings. We all bleed the same. And nobody understands that, guess what? This is what we do. We breathe, we eat, we sleep, and we have a love for our family. And when it comes down to mental health, yes, we still have a love for our family, but at the same time, we don't have a love for ourselves. So, like I said before, you have to check yourself. You have to check your children. You have to check those loved ones that are around you because guess what? It is in your family. You can try and deny it and you can try and pretend that you have the best family in the world, the best family that will never ever have a mental breakdown. But guess what? Stop that denial. It is there. You might not see it because you want to live a stupid life and like not believe that everything is as it is, but guess what? There is a part of mental health in every single family. It could be for vanity, it could be for love, it could be for money, it could be because somebody just feels like they are not living up to what their means are. And guess what? We all have a purpose in this life, in this day and age, to do something and to live. That's the biggest thing. Live, love, laugh. Enjoy your life, first off. Listen to music. Share stories. Share your moments that are the crappiest with your friends and your family. Because guess what? That will stem to depression because you never handled it. You didn't speak out about it. You need to speak out about it. Okay? If there is something that is troubling you, even at work, and you're afraid to talk out, guess what? They cannot hold that against you. Guess what? If your kid's sick, they can't hold that against you. If you're sick, they can't hold that against you. If somebody has passed away in your family, guess what? You have to deal with it. There is bereavement. You have to take those days. It doesn't matter how long you have to take. But when you feel whole, guess what? You feel good. When you have a very good feeling about yourself, well, where you want to just say, wow, I feel really wonderful today. Guess what? That is the best feeling. Where you feel so wonderful. Okay? When you go through a very bad emotional breakup, and then all of a sudden your body goes numb and you're blank and you have no strain, you have no stress. Guess what? That is the part of the healing that you have experienced, and take that very close to heart. I remember just going through so many struggles, ups and downs, ins and outs, and finally I got that feeling that there was nothing ever going to hurt me, there was nothing ever going to harm me again, or to make me feel the way I did. I haven't had the bouts of any real depression or such. You know, you have your highs and your lows when you go through job separation, you go through a divorce, when you go through a breakup, after divorce. But guess what? We have to learn to deal with those things. I have a very strong family network, even though we don't like to talk about it. There are times that all of a sudden it's like, oh, guess what happened to me? Oh, really? We talk about it. And it's just, you have to learn how to deal with things, and so many kids are so pent up that their parents don't even pay attention to them. Their family members don't even pay attention to them, let alone the school system doesn't pay attention to them. They just say, oh, your kid has a problem. Let's put them in a program. Guess what? The programs are not going to solve things. Yeah, sure, it might help their academics, but in the real life society, they are not going to succeed. They are going to be beat down and basically made a laughing stock because guess what? You didn't take the time and effort to take care of their mental health when they're young. So I refrain from putting my son into anything extracurricular after school when it comes down to any literacy or math because I can work with him. And, if it's needed to be done in class, let it be done in class. If you need help as a peer tutor or, in an older grade, then we deal with it as we go along. So, my advice is talk to one another, love one another, stop quarreling with one another. As people say, stop beefing with each other, stop hating on each other, stop thinking that they're better than you because you know what? You have it in yourself to be a good person too. You have it in yourself to be the best you can be. And if you play yourself off and compare yourself to somebody else to live up to their means, guess what? You are never ever going to reach your full potential. So my question for you, and you can like me or hate me, is what are you going to do to make yourself better? What are you going to do to make sure that you don't feel crappy, as I'll put it, or that you won't go through these bouts? What are you going to do to help somebody in a situation that they cannot handle? Are you going to talk to them? Are you going to console them? Are you going to hug them? Are you going to hold their hand? Will you buy a homeless person a decent meal? These are little things that we can do. Remember the whole movement about pay it forward? And guess what? Don't make it a trend. Make it something that you can do from your heart. You don't have to advertise that you bought somebody 100 McDonald's doubles and you paid $150 for them, Mr. Lance, Mr. Prankster. You know what? That's beautiful. But go and maybe cook a full blown meal. Give money to a shelter. Give information to homeless people so that they can go to a shelter to get good food, maybe some rehabilitation, maybe something that they need, from a social service. Maybe not, they're not ready for it, but at least if you give them the information or you send them on a right path, hey, it could be a possibility that it could help somebody out. It depends on where they are at with their mental health. These times when we're in Canada and the sun's so low and it's so dark outside, you feel like there's that sad term. But we're past that. Now the sun is coming out. It's going to be warm over this weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. Get out. Do something. Make your life worth it. This is all I have for you tonight. But make your life worth it. Don't grudge against anybody. Love everybody and be yourself. My thing from when I was a kid is FILO. Freedom in loving others. It was philo. So guess what? If you can't love yourself, you have to love others. And once you start loving others, maybe you can work on your own self, worth. Because sometimes we help each other more than we do ourselves. Is that wrong? Yes, sometimes it is, because we put our stuff on the back burner and then we deal with it years later. But don't do that. Deal with yourself, help others along the way, and love each other. Okay? Good night.